addition, they have been driven by a rebellious desire to be different, taking their creativity not only as a skill but an attitude. Be it music, stage, comedy, fashion, craft, or movie making, the creative industry exemplifies the unique art of turning new and imaginative ideas into reality. An attitude which is today all over the world considered an important and growing part of the global economy, considering its great export potential. And Nigeria, without sounding immodest, is not excluded from the league of top runners like the United Kingdom, America, France, and India, as its Nollywood is ranked the second or sometimes third largest film industry in the world. Nigerian music after Africa is also generating conversation and growing interest worldwide. Yet, this industry in Nigeria continues to maintain a relatively low profile, as economic benefits are yet to truly reflect in the lives of the real owners of intellectual property and the nation at large. With a grand plan to mop up all dormant sources of revenue to make Nigeria bounce back to life, can the creative industry play the role of a lifeline? That's what the Dateline 360 crew will be x-raying this week. Welcome. I'm Hawa Salihu Adam. This is Dateline 360 and we are glad you're spending this time with us. Our attention here is drawn to the creative industry and how it can aid government's revenue diversification drive. Ngozi Chude will, in our lead report, put the issues in the sector into perspective against the background of the potential inherent in it.
Creativity, the generic word that encompasses the art of turning new and imaginative ideas into reality, an act that has seen the revolution of the creative industry in Nigeria, from movies, music, fashion, comedy, arts and dance. The industry has become a household name, giving credence to the consensus as the country's next lifeline. At the heart of the creative economy are the cultural and creative industries that lie at the crossroads of arts, culture, business and technology. The UK has the largest creative sector of the European Union. In terms of GDP, it is the largest in the world, and according to UNESCO, it is in absolute terms the most successful exporter of cultural goods and services in the world, ahead of even the United States. In Nigeria, the release of this film, Living in Bondage, over 20 years ago, saw the emergence of an industry called Nollywood.
Wait! God is now asking you.
Through the years, the industry has thrived, making definite statements of success. In 2009, UNESCO described Nollywood as the second largest film industry in terms of volume and third in terms of revenue after Hollywood and Bollywood. In fact, current estimates puts the Nollywood's annual revenue at $590 million. In music, before now, it was the crowning glory of pacesetters like Fuji, Akbala, Afrobeat, Juju, among others that were the definition of Nigerian music. Today, it is a new deal with a new sound in hip-hop and Afropop, giving expression to top entertainers crisscrossing the length and breadth of the world stage, raking in millions of naira. The same story finds bearing in comedy. From sellout arenas in London to Los Angeles, Nigerian top comedians are headliners. In fact, a testament to this is arguably one of Nigeria's highest paid comedians, Basket Mouth and Ayo Makun, also known as AY, whose 30 days in Atlanta has been recognized by the Guinness Book of Records.
So now kerosene attender to be.
This resonates in the nation's fashion industry, as in recent times, there's a turn to a money spinner. Thanks to the bold and daring exploits of designers like Diola Sego and others, In fact, according to reports, the Nigerian fashion industry is worth over 2 trillion naira, with the garment and footwear section currently accounting for 0.47% of Nigeria's rebased GDP. Talking about the viability of visual arts as not just a vocation but a profession, Yusuf Grillo's painting titled Truly Hijab was sold for 11 million naira in 2015. Benny Awanwan's African dances went for 7.1 million naira, while El Anasu's sculpture Zeta raked in 15.4 million naira in 2014. With these success stories abounding, a growing number of youths are now finding their niche in the industry, reputing it to be the second highest employer in Nigeria after agriculture. This clearly shows that the opportunities created by the entertainment sector is good news for the government, as it somewhat reduces the difficulty of catering for Nigeria's large youth population with more than 100 million people aged below 45. Aside this, from the indices, it is clear that the creative industry in Nigeria has grown to become increasingly important to the economy of the nation. With these and the oil prices falling, there is a consensus on the need for an inward look with the creative industry as a competent alternative.
My film Invasion 1897 has shown in 12 cities in the United States, has shown in Calgary, has shown in major cinemas. This is one of the most vibrant innovations that Africa has donated to the totality of black race.
The beauty of having a brand that is local is because it stays within us. We enrich our people, ourselves. The money stays in Nigeria. We build Nigerians and we create businesses that can compete anywhere in the world.
Recognizing the immense potential inherent in the industry, governments have started taking steps in harnessing these unique abilities for increased generation of the nation's economy. However, while many acknowledge these efforts, concerns are raised in addressing some clogs in the wheel of progress identifiable in power and infrastructure.
We have a big challenge when it comes to getting the fabric that we need to do the production with. The retail is also a big problem in Nigeria, and but I think every other place has experienced this, and we'll pull through it sooner or later.
Most of what is recovered in the creative industry, most of the income goes to pirates. So if everything, or at least most of it, goes to the people who actually own these intellectual properties, if everything comes to the producers of this projects, then of course we'll have more money coming into the industry.
As practitioners in the industry opt for positivity, some are quick to point out salient points, especially the fact that this time around it should be less talk and more action.
We need to encourage our young people. We need to train. We need to create tax incentives for companies to get involved in the creative sector. And we need to focus on the creative sector.
One of the first things that the government needs to do is to remove bureaucrats from administering agencies that handle things related to arts. This is not done in other parts of the world. Remove bureaucrats. Put people who know about the business, who are trained about the business.
Diversification is the word of the day. Now, with exploits in this industry, many hope for a more robust economy. But how well industry enthusiasts say this potential can be unlocked in this direction can only be determined by time. Ngozi Chude for Dateline 360.
Time indeed, Ngozi. That's already here. Any legitimate means of boosting the national purse is what the mandate says should be explored. But as captured in your report, that hydro-headed monster, piracy, must be addressed. Many thanks. Now, the next set of reports from Niger and Ogun State will present practical examples of commitments gone wrong and how they can be revived. We start with John Sajai in Bidda, home to the Nupe Brass and Glass Works.
The popular brass and glass works in Bidda dates back to about 150 years. Totamakun area is known for the brass work, while Masaga area is popular for glass work. In the 1960s and 1970s, both areas attracted tourists in their large numbers from within and outside the country who came to patronize the various items. However, after the years,
patronage by the tourists has reduced, even as the production has equally nosedived. This could be connected with the primitive and archaic way of producing the brass and glass works. Those in the brass business use aluminium, copper and silver as raw materials, which undergo various forms of treatment before the end product. Some of the items produced by them include spoons, pots, kettles, bangles, flower vases, boxes, swords and crescent for mosques, which prices go for between 200 naira and 5,000 naira, depending on the product. They use the firing bowl to heat up the raw material in order to purify it and turn it to liquid before giving it the desired shape. Isa Bakomukun said from inception the business has been a family affair, but with time outsiders became free to come and learn the trade. He said on a good day they get contracts to produce souvenirs for various occasions, as they also engrave names on them. Mukun, however, said they now lack modern technology to embark on massive production, while the youths are running away from the primitive way.
We want to appeal to the government to assist us by getting some of the raw materials and the financial assistance, and where we are going to sell them, marketing. We want to go to international trade fair so that we'll be able to showcase our goods and sell them with a good dollars. We want the fabricating machines that we use so that in order to make this work easier for us in terms of production.
As for the glass work in Masaga, it takes about 3 persons to work on the firing board to come up with an item. Items produced by them include beads for chieftaincy titles, bangles, necklaces, and various home decoration, which prices range from 100 naira to 4,000 naira. Suleiman Abdullahi Masaga and Abdullahi Mustafa both said they have benefited immensely from the family business.
Everything they are sponsoring me from this glass work. Anything they do work, I have the money, give them my children, go to school, my wife, I give you food. Anything they want to inside this work, and I get it to all of them. The
Ethiopian and traditional custodian of Bidda, Alhaji Aya Abubakar, emphasized the need to revisit the glass and brass works that the area is known for.
It is part of our desire and the intention to ensure that we modify the process of producing these items. Since the technology has gone far now, by an advanced stage of technology, so we feel that instead of going direct, pumping fire in a seat, we can easily just get a gas cylinder.
He also said this could be a source of revenue not only for the area but for the nation at large.
We are looking forward to all any interested party who want to come and inspect these areas.
It is hoped that government at all levels will come to the aid of the brass and glass works in Bidda so as to regain its lost glory and be a source of revenue generation. Jones Ajayi, reporting for Dateline 360.
Thanks, Jones. Revenue desperately needed by government at this time. And from Bidda, we go to Abeokuta in Ogun State for the story of the Adire and its viability as a money spinner. Hakim Juma is our guide.
Here is Kenta Adire Kampala Market in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, where Adire is processed to finished goods. Adire making undergoes a number of processes before they become finished goods.
Involves you getting all the necessary material. You have to have your 100% cotton, whether cheddar or anything, as far as it can absorb dye. Then that depends on the kind of Adire you want to produce. Whether you want to produce batik, you want to produce the tie and dye, or you want to...
But in making this Adire, you have to get the material first. As the most important thing is the cloth.
The fabrics are made of quality materials of different designs, sizes and shapes depending on the choice of the local manufacturer. Some customers who regularly patronize the market say the materials are durable, colorful, elegant, radiant and look glamorous on the body.
The potentials that abound in the industry, according to the traders, are so enormous if only government can tap into it through the creation of enabling environment for the business to thrive. A former minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Sharafatunji Shola, who says majority of his clothes are locally made fabrics, corroborated this.
In terms of clothing, we have adire and sonyo and other things. But we are particularly known with adire, which is a type of fabric that is unique all over the world. And if you, given the kind of the quality of adire that we have in Abuja, that's why you see a lot of people coming here. And it has already become an exportable commodity. So I enjoin people to continue to export adire so that we'll continue to promote our culture.
As government clamor for patronage of made in Nigerian goods, the respondents say if an enabling environment is created for the industry to thrive, the subsector can serve as a means of employment generation, wealth creation, and boosting of the culture and tourism sector to attract foreign investors and tourists.
If we can actually look at it that okay, we have over 200 million people now, if we employ as an indigenous clothes for our people to wear, we can't satisfy everybody.
To the traders, marketing of the products is still very low in Nigeria, Africa, and the world over, as the contributions of the industry to Nigeria's economy is minimal. According to them, the economic recession facing the country, coupled with the continuous fluctuation of the naira as against other foreign currencies, is not helping matters in terms of distribution network and importation of raw materials from abroad.
The raw material is not even there. It's very hard to get raw materials now. You talk of the dye we use, they are all imported. You talk of the materials we use, the cheddar.
This economic recession now, we have not been able to see much gain because the dollar, the most important material we are using came from China.
When next visit Abeokuta, I implore you to visit the market.
In Abeokuta, Hakim Jimo reporting for Dateline 360.
Sure will, Hakim. However, issues of forex and raw materials are what industry watchers say government is already addressing by insisting on the culture of dependence on homegrown technology and materials. Okay, with so much commentary on the viability of the creative industry as a generator of jobs, wealth, and cultural engagement, we asked Anthony Forson to look into government's contributions towards repositioning the sector.
Creative industry in some economies have been identified as major revenue earners. And in Nigeria, where diversification is one of the top priorities of the federal government, the Information and Culture Minister is pushing the need for the creative industry to be identified and harnessed so that it can serve as a major revenue earner for the country. It is against this background that the minister appeared in Abuja, the capital of Côte d'Ivoire, to attend the African Ministers of Tourism Conference, where he opened discussions with the Secretary General of the United Nations World Tourism Organization, Taleb Rifai.
In particular, he was delighted to hear that the Boko Haram insurgency has been decimated.
The meeting afforded the minister the opportunity to further talks which took place in Madrid, Spain.
Nice to meet you. Hello. What we're trying to do in our ministry is to move tourism from the margins to the mainstream, and see it truly as a driver, a potential driver of the economy. And this is why it is important to be able to have at one's fingertips the facts, the figures.
Taleb Rifai on his part said Nigeria is the emerging market for the creative industry in Africa.
Welcome to Nigeria. It's an open country for you. It's a country that embraces you and welcomes you. The world has not heard that so clearly yet. We need to build up to reach that point where people would feel that they can, and it's sincere, and it's doable, and it's enjoyable as well.
Aside from the collaboration with the United Nations World Tourism Organization, Lai Mohammed has been talking with the British Council and the Tony Elumelu Foundation. These two organizations have also signed memorandum with the federal government. The British Council in Edinburgh and the Tony Elumelu Foundation in Lagos, Nigeria. Back at home, Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, has taken advantage of every opportunity that comes his way to drive home the point that the creative industry is a low-hanging fruit ready to be plucked. Anthony Forson, reporting for Dateline 360.
Driving home the point of a low-hanging fruit, ready to be plucked indeed, Anthony. But there are issues practitioners and investors alike say need to be addressed for the fruit to be edible, as Thekla Wilkie captured in the next excerpts.
It has become even more urgent that we understand that we can no longer afford to put to waste the products of the creative ingenuity of our people.
People have to realize that the industries that make an economy cannot be only banking and medical, doctor, or lawyers. They have to realize that there's some creatives, what you call the creative industry, and that there are consumers who are looking for the service of these people, and therefore begin to create industries out of such.
Let the kids learn, about photography, about music, about entertainment generally, and of course protect these properties that we have. Realize that you have a stake. This is government now. Realize you have a stake. Protect your stake in this investment. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. If we take it more serious, infrastructure, grants, scholarships, in other developed countries or in other countries, the government pays, for people to learn, to get educated.
As the government of the day tackle the many challenges plaguing the creative industry, a call has been made for the private sector to be more proactive and leverage on the opportunities the Nigerian creative industry could offer.
The creative industry in Nigeria no doubt has a lot of potential, but how that potential is tapped and harnessed and nurtured is a big question. Stakeholders in the entertainment industry and of course the corporate world and the government will need to sit around on the round table and discuss.
For Dateline 360, this is Thekla Wilkie reporting.
A round-table discussion, Thekla, whose time experts will tell you was yesterday. Thanks. No government policies on repositioning the creative industry would say there is no short supply of incentives to turn the sector around. The Dateline 360 team has presented what we will describe as just a tip of the potential of the industry. The question we'll leave with you is why this industry in Nigeria still maintains a low profile. We welcome your comments, questions and suggestions on our platforms, Dateline 360 at NTA.ng or Twitter handle at NTA News Now. As we draw the curtains this week, the food for thought remains contributing to the world by making meaningful things and not just new things. And creative works of the entertainment industry, which belongs to millions of people who make them, should be protected from those who steal or unlawfully distribute. Thanks for your time and bye.